What's going on, everybody? Sam? The same three guys won't work today. Hitch, Chris Jones, and Colin Saunders. Everybody else will work. Thanks for the laughter. Appreciate it. Here we go, Coach.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Fire away.
We get to see Tyreek Hill back as a returner very often. The decision to put him back there in the first half last week.
Well, I was yelling for McCole, and McCole wasn't right there because we went to a different return. It was a special return we had, and Tyreek just jumped in there to take it. It was one of those. I wasn't asking for Tyreek. It just ended up being he was the guy that was available at that time. So, and he loves to jump in there too. By the way, yeah. So he wants to be part of it. He wanted to do something. He wanted to make something happen. At that point.
Do we expect to see that Monday or just in the near future? See more?
Yeah, I mean, you never know. We got a lot of returners. I said this before. We have a lot of guys that do a lot of different things, and we have special returns for each guy. And you could see that at any time. Something special.
The 57-yarder the other day, how confident were you when you guys sent him out?
Confident because our line was right around in there. And whatever that spot is I'm confident that he can make it. He's confident that he can make it. It just didn't happen. I mean, it was his first miss, and nobody's more upset than he is. He's so hard on himself, but he'll bounce back and get the next one.
Kind of an unusual situation because the sack made that such a deep field goal. I assume you guys thought you were in field goal range before that sack occurred. Can you kind of take me through the communication?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. The communication broke down. It was my fault. I mean, the reason why we caused the timeout, that I didn't communicate well enough with Andy. That was my fault. So, because I sent the punt. Obviously, I sent the punt team out, and then we had the switch, and it was too much time. We called the timeout. So that's where that went on that. So, we won't make that mistake again. But yeah, I mean that situation. You're thinking field goal at least, right at that point. But then then that kind of sets you back, and now it's in that gray area. Is it a go? Is it a not? Do you want to play field position? What do you want to do? Do you want to go for it? I mean, those are three options that we had there. So, I just didn't communicate it well enough. It was my fault.
Everybody else? Thanks, Coach.
I'm going to end on that.
All right. See you.
All right. Good afternoon. Hope all is well with everyone, and hopefully everyone's families have remained safe. Coming off a tough loss from last weekend, I didn't think we played very well as an offense. The thing I can take away from that was good. I thought we had a sense of urgency and a sense of purpose in the second half. Hopefully we can build off of that. Our guys have done a heck of a job of locking in and focusing in to get back on track. But it's our job to make sure they're ready to go and play 60 consecutive minutes on Monday. With that said, I'm all ears.
How do you coach a team that's in a turnover rut like you guys are? I mean, obviously, Pat knows not to throw it to the other guys, and Cole knows to hold on to the ball. How do you coach it?
You keep coaching. You don't change anything. You keep coaching all the fundamentals and all the necessary things that have helped them to get to a point to where that wasn't an issue. At the end of the day, no one ever wants to go into a game turning over the football. But at certain times, things happen. And so the thing that we need to do is make sure that we have the wherewithal to overcome the adversity and make something positive happen. So just like I told the guys, we got to learn to create our own luck. We've been very blessed and fortunate for a number of years. But now it's time for us to create our own luck by getting out of our own way.
It's at the point now when you guys do turn it over, it's like, oh no, here we go again. The avalanche is starting here.
I don't believe that. I don't think that at all. On top of it, you got to get the other team some credit. Tennessee did a hell of a job. Let's be frank. Let's be honest. They kicked our ass. Okay. So when you get your ass kicked, you reevaluate everything. And so guys got to take a look at themselves. Coaches got to take a look at themselves. And then we got to make sure that we're dotting all our I's and crossing our T's and making sure that we're doing what is right for our team to make sure they're mentally ready, but on top of that, physically ready to play as well.
Yesterday, Patrick talked about guys that are stepping up on the offensive side. Byron Pringle was one of those guys. What are you seeing from him?
You know what? Pringle's done a heck of a job. He had the unfortunate play against the Chargers. And the thing that you love about that kid is that, you know, as a free agent coming out of K-State, this kid has had to overcome a lot since he's been here. You know, he gets hurt his first year, then he comes back the second year fighting for a roster spot. You know, he starts off on the practice squad. But, you know, I'm not shocked nor surprised what Pringle has put on tape and what he's displayed each and every week, because that's the person, that's who he is. And one thing that he does, and he takes a tremendous amount of pride in, is learning from his mistakes. He never wants to put us in that predicament ever again. So he's going to do whatever he can to make the very most of every opportunity that is presented to him.
Getting back to the turnovers, do you feel like those or any other plays are the result of guys maybe pressing a little bit, just trying to do too much?
Well, I think that's probably more than anything that collectively as an offense that we've been trying to do. And one thing is, and I understand these guys live in a social media day and age where they feel the pressure of being perfect. There's no such thing as perfection. We want to strive for it, okay? And you want to try to achieve it, but it's tough, okay? So when it's all said and done with, you want your guys to let their personality show. Be yourselves, relax, go play football. This game is meant to be fun. When our guys are having fun, when they're relaxed, when they're playing for a purpose, and when they're accountable to one another, that's when we're at our best. And that's where we just got to dig down and find and make sure that we're putting that out on Sundays.
It seems like that would be a little bit of the chicken or the egg thing, as far as, you know, the guys might relax once things are going well. They might press once things are going well. Do you feel like you need just a couple of things to maybe bounce in your favor, and then you'll see that?
And here's the thing. I'll say this again. We have to create our own luck. We got to get out of our own way. We got to eliminate the penalties. We got to stop being our worst enemy. And I think if we can get out of our own way and start playing against the opponent, we have a chance.
Couple more.
Coach, you a couple of questions. One, Josh Gordon, I know, I think you may have mentioned up to the coaching staff to get him more involved. I know, you know, you all were kind of high on him when you first signed with the team. When are we going to see him be more involved with the offense, and then I'll follow up?
Well, we had big plans for him last week. Unfortunately, we fell behind and we were playing catch-up mode. And that wasn't a situation that we wanted to put him in. And so we want him to be in the opportunity to go out and do the things that he's practiced all week long. And so it's all about making sure that you're putting your guys in the right situation. We didn't feel at that particular time that was the right situation for him to be in. Now, if that was to happen this week, will he be prepared for it? Yes, he will be.
I'm glad you said that, because I guess I'm going to have to be that guy to ask this question, so if you want to laugh it off, that's fine. But knowing where the defense is ranked, you know, where they are in the league, has there been any discussion, and if so, why not? I understand the analytics, I understand why you all do it, but knowing that the defense has struggled, as you mentioned last week, you all got on the board after it was 7-2-0. Why put the offense at a deficiency instead of having them go out first when we start the game off?
Well, first and foremost, I don't get into all that, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I don't care when we get the ball, whether we take it or we defer it. At the end of the day, our guys are responsible for playing 60 consecutive minutes. Our job as a coaching staff is to make sure we're coaching our asses off for 60 consecutive minutes. Doesn't matter who gets the ball. It's what we do when we get the ball. Those are the results that we're looking after. And so when that happens, when we're doing it the right way, nobody would be complaining about anything that we're doing, because I know the potential, you know, that we have when we do it the right way. But we just got to make sure, regardless of what takes place, when we have those opportunities, let's make sure that we're getting out of our own way and making something productive happen.
What were the last three nominations?
Eric, we're coming up on the anniversary of that crazy Monday night game you had out in LA a few years ago against the Rams. What do you remember about that game, and can you imagine ever again playing in a game quite like that?
You know what? I'm gonna tell you what's crazy about that. So, first of all, it was a hell of a game. I mean, it was a great experience. You know, being back home in Southern California, I'll never forget the start of the first quarter. I'm looking, somebody's yelling my name. I see 4 of my high school friends sitting directly behind me, getting my attention. And I'm like, this is crazy. So that was one of the memories. But yes, that was a heck of a game. Obviously, we'd have loved to win it, but those are the things that you love, and those are the things that we're capable of doing. Okay. And so we just got to make sure that we get back and get that fire lit. And I'm going to go back to saying this: we got to create our own luck. We got to create the positive plays for us. And that starts with us having a sense of urgency and a sense of purpose at the start of kickoff, not in the second half when we're in a reaction mode. We got to come out and initiate what we want to do.
Eric, you mentioned about the players having fun. I'm just wondering, as a coach and from the coaching perspective, what's fun about trying to find the solution when you know your quarterback has been blitzed the least in the league and you know you're mostly facing 7 defenders?
There's absolutely nothing fun about it. Okay. We have to be better. That's all, Nate. And the thing about it, it's not very complicated. We have to come out and start. Just like I said, we have to start fast. But we've shown that if we get out of our own way, we're capable of accomplishing anything that we want to accomplish. And so it just takes us as a coaching staff, and it takes our players making sure that they're focused for 60 consecutive minutes. All right. But during that 60 consecutive minutes, you have to remain focused one play at a time. It's probably one of the hardest things to do is to have that level of focus. And when we've had it in the past, the results have been outstanding. But we got to find a way to collectively have it together as a unit. That's going to be the key to us getting back on track.
A little similarly to Nate's question, whenever you are facing light boxes, no one's ever had to convince you to run the football, I would imagine. But when do you decide, hey, this is a situation where we might want to try to stay on the ground for a couple of plays or just try to take advantage of those matchups? And when do you say, hey, I don't really care about the numbers. I want Patrick Mahomes to throw the football?
You know what? It's a combination of everything. We're going to a game plan with, hey, we want to do whatever's best to help us to win. And so the thing that we want to do is make sure and ensuring that we're putting our guys in the right situation. Hell, it may be running it 30 times, but also it may be throwing it 50 times. At the end of the day, we don't care. We just want to do what is best to help our guys to win. And that's all that matters. All right. You guys take care. Thank you.
All righty. I get the third slot today, huh,
Yeah.
Sydney? Okay, I don't have too much. It's a little bit different of a week. We're well into the week and we're on to the Giants. Last week, real quick, we just, we didn't have a very good first half. I thought it was all about third down. If we can play better in third down, I think the game's a little bit different, and we didn't. So we moved on from that one. We're on to the Giants, and I'll leave it at that and open it up.
Of all the things that have gone on defensively this year, in terms of surprises, where does the lack of a consistent pass rush rank? How surprised are you by what you guys have done in the pass rush play?
Well, I mean, look at I don't know whether it's surprise. You don't know. You never know what you're going to get going into each season. I think we talked about this before. Coaches have said it. I believe in it as well as most other coaches. It takes you 4 games into it to figure out what you have and what you are. And we've been doing that. Sometimes when the pieces aren't all healthy, it takes a little bit longer. Well, I was talking with Tyrann Mathieu about that this week. I mean, we might finally start to have an idea of what we are and who we can be and what we can do and what we can't do. But again, there's still some moving pieces here. I don't go into a season saying I know we're going to get this. I really don't do that. So I'm not so sure. Surprise is a good word.
Why hasn't it been better then?
I don't know. I mean, there's been some things there where, some of the teams we've played have been pretty good. We've had the pass run issues. We haven't gotten them into the quote unquote passing situations, I think, as much as you want to. When you're ahead in a game, I mean, go back to the Cleveland game. Yeah. When we finally got ahead, it was different and we could play a little bit differently. So then I think we all felt coming out of that game, like in the second half, I think we felt like we had a decent pass rush. It's been a while now, but I thought we did some good things. So maybe the ebb and flow of the game has changed it a little bit. The teams that it happened again today as we did third down. There's these teams that are running the ball on third down that changes you a little bit. We just got to get in those situations where we know it's passed so we can pin our ears back and go.
In other situations, what do you have to do to get your pass rush going? Your 4-man rush.
Yeah, listen. What do you have to do? I mean, everybody's got to play faster. Everybody's got to play better. The coach has to coach, but make better calls. I don't know that I have a full. I don't have to have a complete solution about that. Everybody's got to play better. I think it's the best thing to say.
We're going to get Frank Clark here after you. He hasn't been the vocal leader that he's been over the past couple of years. Why do you think that's been? Or
he has or hasn't?
He has not. It seems to us that he hasn't been the vocal leader.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how you determine that. I mean, Frank, to me, has been the leader that he's been. I don't know.
We've heard
You're probably better to ask him. Yeah. Whether he thinks he's been a vocal leader or not, I don't know that.
What type of challenges does Daniel Jones, cause your defense? And he's also their leading rusher.
Yeah.
At the quarterback. You talk about teams that run on third down. That's probably someone who would do that.
That's another one. Yeah, you got it.
What type of challenges?
Yeah. So look at these teams that every team and most of the teams in this league are figuring it out that you got a quarterback that can beat you with his feet as well as throwing it, become a lot tougher to defend. This guy's athletic. I mean, and yet he can stand back there and be the prototypical sit on the spot, fire the ball downfield, make all the throws. And when either, his offensive coordinator calls for him to run it or something we do dictates that he has to run it, he's really pretty good. For a big, tall 6'5" guy, I mean, I think he humps. I mean, we haven't played him obviously in the time he's been in. This is the first time, but I remember seeing highlights when he was a rookie and the past couple of years. And I will tell you this: he's a fearless runner. I mean, we saw him put his head down in the Atlanta game. He did it in Dallas, and then he made a great catch in the Carolina game. If you've never seen it, and took a hit. So I got a lot of respect for him.
And also, not taking nothing away from Dan Jones himself, but they got Saquon Barkley, got the other running back, Kenny Galladay. A lot of them may be coming back for this game, coming off an injury. What type of challenges are this? Because they're obviously real physical, and that seems to be what the defenses have problems with. Yeah,
they listen. They've got a lot of. You look at their depth and their players, and if they're all healthy, and I know they have been fighting through some injuries as well. They're a pretty scary offense. When you talk about the quarterback, we just talked about the quarterback. They got all kinds of speed on the outside. I was there when Ingram was there, the tight end. I got a lot of respect for him. and you throw the running back in there when he's healthy. So, listen, it's a three-way challenge for us. By that I mean the quarterback's problem, running's problem in the wideouts. But we'll see where they are health-wise, and then we just got to go out there and do what we do. Try to get them in those situations. I thought, we went into last week's game. I thought we did what we tried to do with the running back, or kept it at bay. Tried to get him in the situations we wanted. We just didn't win those third down situations. I'm talking about more in the first half.
Steve, with Frank Clark, is he a guy you need more out of, and are you concerned?
I think we need more out of everybody. I mean, we could go around and pick it every player, but we need more out of everybody. That's kind of what happens when you're, as a team or as a unit, struggling. I think everybody's got to pick it up. I believe the guys are trying to do that. Their efforts during the week are focused on that. You just hope it shows up on, in this case, Monday.
Obviously, he's a guy that you've counted on for the past couple of years. We all know what he's making. I mean, do you feel like what you've seen from him is a product of something that's going on? Obviously,
well, you got to remember that he initially, we had an injury. Am I not right? We missed the first game. Then I think he tried to come back. Then he was set back again. If I got it all right, that's we're into what do we go in the 7th game, right? 8th game. So I think that might, missed a lot of training camp, but I do think Frank's doing that. From my standpoint and what I'm seeing playing wise, I do think he's doing that.
Is it safe to say with Jaron Reed, whether or not his performance is what you expected when he signed?
I didn't have any expectations. I know I go into the season just hoping to get these guys to play the best football that they can play. I don't tag. I expect 7 sacks out of this guy, and 10. I don't do that. So we just want everybody to play better. I want the unit to play better.
Last two, Stephen A.
With everything that's gone on, this has been the last few games with both Nick Bolton and Willie Gay on the field together. Just what's the next progression from them as you sort of see what they can both do and what they may add moving forward?
As far as the next progression, I mean, is keep doing what we're doing. We're trying to get them out on the field as much as we can, and you guys can see that when we're playing. Listen, Nick's been great in there. He's been a tackling machine, and Willie kind of compliments him and Willie's speed. The whole thing was a great play that Willie made on that interception. We needed that at that time. Both guys have progressed real well, and we'll just hope that it keeps trajectory keeps going that way.
Steve, Traveris Ward had been out a few weeks.
Yeah.
He got some time last week. What did you see from him?
Yeah, I was good to see that he got in there. We weren't sure whether to, we were being careful with overloading him because it's quad, and I thought he did good. He knocked the rust off, in my opinion. He made a really good play on a slant that we needed, and hopefully he can do the same thing. We need him back. I mean, we've talked about Traveris before. I remember in years past, and he might get a pass thrown over his head, right? And then we talk about this, and I would always say to you guys that the plays you don't see are the ones where they don't throw it over there. And we've been missing that a little bit. So getting him back here, I think, helps us.
Yeah, specifically with Nick, curious about just how he handled that Michael role, the leadership role in the field.
Great question.
And can he maybe pick up more of that as the season goes on?
Yeah, look, I think we said this. I think I said it publicly that the very first preseason game with Nick, because you're always looking at these rookies in training camp and how they respond to being out there in an NFL game. It was never too big for him, and I didn't think it was too big for him last week. I think Matt House and him work so well together, and Matt gets him ready, and he's a true pro even as a 8th game rookie. And we're really happy with what he's done from that standpoint. I think the rest of the guys responded to him. He's standing in front of the huddle, and I don't think we skipped a beat in that regard. I think for the most part, I think all of the, me getting to him making the call, I think it was relatively smooth. So hopefully we can keep doing that. Okay.
Thanks.
Go ahead and fire away. Frank, you've only played 4 games. Obviously, you guys are 7 games of the season, but just you personally, we haven't seen the production that we're accustomed to seeing. I'm wondering what you'd attribute that to, and how do you sort of get yourself back to where you've been?
Just getting back in that rhythm. That's first and foremost. Actually, then just doing it. At the end of the day, there's no excuses for anything. This league is hard every day. day in, day out is hard. You know, every team that they go out there and they compete and they do everything they have to do to beat you, you know, or stop you from getting, you know, your goals and stuff like that. So I feel like I'm getting a heavy dosage of that right now. You know, and then it's just getting back in that rhythm. I feel like I'm getting back in my flow, getting back to, you know, rushing the passer just aggressively. My first like 2 weeks back out there, you know, things was kind of slow where it was like me just getting the feel, me getting back conditioned and doing what I do. And then last week I finally started getting touching the quarterback more, getting back in the backfield, being disruptive. And, you know, and then in the future, you know, just being persistent. Got to be persistent, you know, and that's the key, you know, as a defensive end or as a pass rusher is being persistent in this league.
Frank, I talked to you before about having that dog mentality. Do you feel like that fire is still there? You feel like you still have that dog?
Yeah, of course. You know what I'm saying? I still feel like I'm one of the best. You know, it just takes, you know, a little bit. You know, I've been dealing with a lot of stuff. So you go through a lot of things. And, you know, everybody goes through a lot of things in this life. You know, it's just another thing, you know, about this thing called life. So, you know, but at the end of the day, you know, you got to put a lot of stuff to the side, you know, and then when it's time to deal with things, you got to deal with it. But I've been going through some real life stuff. So at the end of the day, you know, those things are just as important as football, you know, when it comes to, you know, putting myself first and making sure that I take care of things that's off the field, you know, mental stability, you know, taking care of family, and then, you know, making sure I take care of my job as well.
How are you feeling mentally? Like, I know it's a lot on your shoulders right now, but mentally, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling way better. I feel like I'm in a way better place than I was before. You know, at first, you know, things kind of hit me real fast, and then, you know, at the end of the day, you know, you got to kind of put things on the back burner because I got a job to do as well here at the Chiefs. But at the end of the day, you know, I have a life that I have to make sure, you know, isn't going to shambles because of some decisions that were made off the field. But at the end of the day, you know, to put things in a better, you know, more of a, you know, perspective, it's like, you know, it's just a focus level you got to have. You know, you got to be able to separate the two. You know, when you have your job, you know, and things you got to do on that side. And then when you got, you know, things in your personal life, you know, you got to be able to have it well balanced to, you know, be able to do everything the right way day in and day out.
Sorry, is that affecting what's on the field? Because I mean, like you mentioned, I mean that's got to be on your mind, right? I mean, is that affecting what you're doing out here?
I mean, it used to be on my mind more than it is now, you know. But at the end of the day, you know, it's something that, like I said, you got to be able to balance. So I feel like now to this point, I have it balanced a little bit better than I did before. You know, of course, like I was saying, you got things that in the beginning where, you know, you're not too sure what's going to happen in certain situations and stuff like that, or you're not too sure, you know, what's going on. So you start getting information and stuff from your people, and people work for you, and things start shed better light, and stuff start to look a little bit better in those regards. And then on the other side, like I said, for the field, it's like I keep saying, it's just a balance. You know, you're gonna go through stuff all the time. You know, it's not the first time I went through stuff in my life. You know, I go through stuff all the time. You know, I deal with stuff all the time, you know, in certain situations and similar situations. But, you know, some things less than more, you know, some things less than others, I mean. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's just, like I said, having that balance.
Right, going back to the football side of things, you all have had success the last couple of seasons, won the Super Bowl, going back to Super Bowl. How much of a challenge, or do you feel it's a challenge that you all can get up for your opponent, even though your opponent is coming and thinking when they face you all, boom, we're facing an AFC Championship, you know, Super Bowl type quality team, but they're giving you your best. But because of the success that you all have had, is it hard for you all to get motivated, turn on the switch, so to speak, to get up and face the opponents that you're facing?
I don't feel like it's hard. You know, it's just a will to want to do it. You know, you got to come in every day with that will to want to get better, will to compete, and having that Super Bowl mentality. You know, that championship mindset. If you come in with those things, I feel like you're going to every day attacking every day. And it's about taking everything one day at a time. I feel like sometimes, you know, being successful like we've been, we kind of get ahead of ourselves. You know, you start thinking, you know, to the playoffs, to the Super Bowl, to, you know, those games, instead of thinking, well, we got the Giants this week, you know, then next week we got the Raiders and stuff like that, and so on and so on. So I feel like that's kind of been, you know, a problem. But when you sit down and you start reevaluating things and you start just, you know, looking at it, you know, looking at the bigger picture, it's really just, you know, taking one day at a time, you know, and starting the day, or starting yesterday rather. It's like, boom, we got this practice today, and today we got this practice, then the next day, and then you keep on going that way, and then and that enables you to put your all into that one team instead of thinking, too far ahead and thinking, outside the box too much. And now you got all these different thoughts and you focusing on 6 different teams when you play one, at a time. And I think that's key.
The strength that you all have had defensively, what you've seen on film so far this season, why is it? I mean, what are they? Because it seems as though at the line of scrimmage, that's where the first, beating the defense at. What is it that you all can do that you all have seen on film that can help turn things around?
I feel like making the plays. I feel like being put in a position really to make those plays, and just being able to be utilized the proper way. I feel like when you do those things that you're gonna make the plays, and you're gonna make the plays that come to you and the plays that don't. We got some unique guys. You got myself, you got Chris, you got, a lot of guys in the middle who are very disruptive. Derek Nottie, Jaron Reed, Colin Saunders, all these guys, even some young guys. Mike Dane has been playing some good football. Turk. But I feel like these guys are a unique group of guys, one of the most unique that we've had and athletic. And I feel like when put in a great position to win, that we're gonna get the job done every time.
Specifically with the pass rush, this has been a pretty good pass rushing team the last couple of years. What's going on this year? Why haven't you guys been as productive there?
You got to finish plays. I feel like finishing plays is a lot to do with it. You watch film, we'll get to the quarterback, and not all the time is a guy, making an actual play. You missing a sack, some guys falling off, not allowing the quarterback to, slide off some of those plays. I feel like plays like that. I was just talking to the guys. I was like, man, it's like going to the third game in a row where, as a defensive line, we haven't had a lot of sack production. I believe the last time we had a sack as a D line was against the Philadelphia Eagles. And, I was just talking to the guys, because it pisses me off, because, you watch games and you watch guys have, 6, 7 sacks a game, as a defensive line unit. And, it's inspiring because those are the same things that you want to do as a defensive line every week. So, of course, it's something that's always on my mind as one of the leaders of the defense, because, I just want the best from my group. And, it's tough watching, a struggle in those regards, but, we're struggling as a defense. And, if we don't figure it out sooner than later, then it's just going to be a longer season than it's been already.
We haven't talked to you since the Bills game. Did you ever get an explanation for that penalty, that roughing the passer call?
Nah, sometimes there ain't no explanation for stuff in life, man. I've won my whole career where I haven't had a call like that made. And, I knew sooner or later one was coming, 7 years strong. Not one of those type of calls, it's cool though,
Kinsey?
Yeah, you talk about separating, your professional life and your personal life and handling business on both aspects. Is there anyone that you lean on specifically for, both things, or who do you kind of rely on to keep you on track with both?
My family, is one. I rely on my lady, my coaches, my teammates. I feel like I got a strong foundation in those regards. I feel like if you got a strong foundation, your kids. My kids make me happy. So away from football, when everything gets tough, I just look at my little ones, and they make my day a little bit better. I got my teammates to talk to. I got some guys that, are been in a similar position as myself, and friends outside of my team that's been in a similar position as myself, who are just as strong-willed as myself. And I feel like, just when you have a foundation and you have friends that keep it real with you, friends that's not going to always tell you, the right things, you're like, guys in my position, they always want to hear the right things. And, they're going to tell you the wrong things as well, things that you can do to get better, to help yourself. I feel like that's when you become a better person.
I got to ask you, because I don't know when we're going to speak to you again, but what you're going through on the personal side and what you've been through in your life, for young people, kids who look up to you, what lessons have you learned, and what lessons will you take further?
I learned to stay strong. You got to stay strong. Like you said, it's you're going to always going through stuff. You never know. You can't pinpoint and know how to call it or know, exactly what you're going to go through, but you're going to always go through stuff. You just got to stay strong, stay strong, stay confident, and keep your head up. The moment you let your head down, you show signs of weakness. You show that it's like forfeiting, like giving up, on yourself first, before, you got all these people around you who have faith in, who looking at you to, keep your head up and to stay strong or to have their back. You got all these people who looking at you. So it's first and foremost is keeping your head up and staying strong. And, you got to smile through the good and the bad days.
I guess to kind of clarify, what would you do to avoid putting yourself in a situation like that again?
Oh man, you just gotta keep the right people around. Keep the right people around. And like I said before, it's all about your foundation. Trusting your foundation more sometimes than you trusting yourself. Your foundation knows what's best for you. And I feel like if you do that, things are gonna work out in your favor more times than not.
Frank, when there's everybody healthy on the D line specifically, do you think that this group up front can be the best in the league? You got a lot of all pros, you got some good guys getting paid a lot of money. Can this defensive line take over these last 7-8 games?
I feel like we can. It's also being humble though. You got to understand the situation. Understand that every team will come here every week, and play a Super Bowl minded game against us. We've been the team to beat for the last 2 years, and I feel like it's not going to stop. The last thing a team wants to see the Chiefs are in is a third straight Super Bowl or another playoff appearance or back on the top of the league. And these are things that I understand about just playing football for the last 7 years. When you're the top dog, you're the top dog. I don't care what your record is. A team, we're under 500 and team will look at us like we still, 7, 8 and 0, and they go come in there with the mindset of, beating their one-on-one matchups first and then, doing everything they can to make us look bad. So at the end of the day, we just got to buckle up and get ready for the ride.
Last one, Nate. Frank, you mentioned your legs and obviously dealing with the injuries. Just can you explain what nursing a leg can do as a pass rusher in terms of how you're trying to attack the quarterback and how much can that improve if you feel better with each week with your legs under you?
Yeah, you kind of lose your legs, and I got hurt kind of at a weird point in the season. It was like second week of camp, like second and a half week of camp or whatever, where it was like, I'm like, damn, like I was just getting that groove, that camp grooves, feeling the, battling through the pain and all the stuff that happens in camp, the heavy legs. I just got my legs back in camp. And then it was like, boom, injury. First it tweaked. Then I'm like, all right, it tweaked. I got to chill out. And I told myself that I didn't chill out. 3 days later, I tried to go back out practice and boom, it pulled. Then I hear the pop. I'm like, damn, all right, pop. I'm like, all right, now I got to sit down. So I sit down for all those weeks. I come back. I'm practicing, trying to get right. Then it happened on the other side. I'm like, wow. So now I've spent probably a month and a half almost of not doing no true running, not doing no true pass rushing, not really doing nothing as far as that, not doing no lower body work. So now all the work I've spent in the off season, it's basically went to waste because I spent 7 weeks not doing nothing lower body. So now I got to basically work overtime to get back. So now you spend the next few weeks getting back for a game and getting back in physical condition so that I can go and perform the right way. So now you see, okay, I'm using the game as conditioning. I'm using the game. Those are my first true reps actually is in the live game against an opponent. And, I'm trying to be there for my team. So, I've never been the type, like I said, I've been blessed my whole career to, not have a very, a substantial injury to a point where it's held me out for, a long time. This is the longest I've been out of football, prior, so it was kind of new to me, that's where I said the mental battle came into play where it was like, damn, I'm going through all this stuff on this side, but then I got to deal with this. So it was all a lot, and then I start putting different stuff in perspective, like, man, I've been 7 years in the league, and this is the first time something like this has happened. I'm like, boy, you blessed. Like, you complaining about some stuff where you got guys who had multiple injuries, been out, barely played football for 2 years straight, and you complaining about a hamstring or two. And I told myself, I'm like, it's more serious stuff going on in this world than, your hamstrings, as funny as it sounds. But, once I put that in perspective, I was like, get right, go out there. Y'all know me, I'm not really into the media and, You know, I'm not talking about y'all, you know what I mean? I'm talking about like the media, like, you know, how they be on Instagram and Twitter. Like I kind of use them as, you know, bait or whatever. But, you know, I'm not really into that. So it don't bother me. So I'm like, you know, you got to get right because I understand. I see what's going on at practice. You know, I'm the vocal one on the D line. I'm the one who kind of call the shots as far as, you know, what we doing, the games, you know, pass rush and stuff like that on that side of the ball. So it was like, you know, seeing that and seeing the problems, you know, you watch them develop and you watch the communication start to fail. So then you get in the season and you watch what happens on that level. And then it's like, dang, you know, I wish I can be there for my team. So that's when the urgency of me trying to get back comes into play. So now it's like, oh, man, I get hurt again. And then it was like, man, just buckle down and get right, get healthy. Because that's how you can help your team the most. And once that happened, you know, I got right, got healthy, got right mentally, got right physically. And then I'm back out there just, you know, able to play football and enjoy what I love to do.
Okay, thanks, Frank.
Appreciate y'all.
We're inside today, so we'll leave from here.